Hey friends, it's Drayton with World's Greatest Kiting. I'm in a very interesting place today. I have some fascination, I always have, with graveyards and with the history of the people buried here and what happened in their lives. And if some of you who are also fellow Woovians who watch Adam the Woo's channel, you know that Adam does some very incredible grave site explorations of famous people and people of historical notoriety. Today I am at the Glen Oaks Cemetery, one of two of the oldest cemeteries in Pinellas County. It's here as part of the St. Jude Church, but it's got an interesting history. This is actually not just a cemetery for people of the church, but this is an Indian burial mound. And from a distance, I'll show you, you can obviously see when you pull up to this place that this is a mound. So this has been here for thousands of years. In fact, they say that this was occupied by the, I believe it's Manitoba Indians in the year 400 to year 1500, that this where I am standing is the mound. There's lots of stories over the years recorded about this place. It's a little known place in Pinellas County, but there's some very cool information. Let me show you some of the gravestones here. I'm in the very back part of the property here, and you can see, I think you can see the slope there where the mound is, and it appears that it goes into the backyard of some of these properties that are along this other street. Back here, I'm just assuming that this is a site of the back corner of the furthest gravestone, or where it used to rest. You see a couple others over here. Many of these graves are disrupted. They've been vandalized. There's reports in the 50s and 40s of missing stones and broken stones, and no one has taken care of this in many, many years. There was a committee that took care of the property in the 50s and 60s, but it has gone to the wayside, you could say. And it's got words all the way down here. You can see time has taken a toll here. A lot of these stones have been forgotten about. (1935), March 1st. It does look like the people probably here at the church have taken some time to care for some of these stones and at least set them up properly. Let's go check out the mound. The story goes that the land was sold from a pioneer in Florida, and sold it to another group of people a few months later. This is back in the early or late 1800s, 1887 to be exact. And after it was sold to that other group, it was already known to be a cemetery, obviously because of the mound, the Indian burial mound. But the pioneers began to bury their loved ones in this spot as well. So it was one of the original places in the county where people lived, and there was a church here built soon after the land was transferred, and became one of the only places for burial in the county. Look at this old gate. This was the entrance. Here we're looking out to the streetway, but it's seen some time. Wow. Takes a long time for metal to do that. Wow. the walkway. All this broken up concrete. See an old wall lining or a area where graves might have been. Not very well taken care of at all. Back here, lots of rubbish, overgrown trees, some invasive plants. In case you didn't know, these are called mother-in-law's tongue, and they're an invasive species in Florida. They look nice in a planter, but they sure take over a spot if left untouched. It's a little bit hard to tell here geographically, but the street that we came in on, let's see right out here, this street is Auburn Street. This is 2024 Auburn Street, I believe is the address. And if you see here where the kite van is parked, there's a small access road that only acts as a driveway to the church and it looks like a community hall next to it. That road used to be called Ice Cream Alley. There's no history I can find online about the exact event, but what I do know is that in the church that this isn't, I don't believe that that is the exact church, but the church that was here had a ice cream social in the year 1905. And because of that ice cream social, it was a fundraiser, the whole street was named Ice Cream Alley, and the whole entire city referenced this one little service road as Ice Cream Alley for long amount of time. Now it's just a service road, so people don't come to it anymore. But if you do look it up online, this is Auburn Street and it's Tangerine Street right here next to it. Many of the people buried here were pioneers, like I said, and a lot of the pioneers were Spanish. They lived in the Bahamas and migrated up to the Keys and then up eventually here to St. Petersburg area, including this guy, Emmanuel Fernandez, who was born in Spain. I can't read the city, but he died on May 10th, 1881 at the age of 85 years old. He is not dead, but he sleepeth. These are some of the oldest grave sites in the cemetery, and they all seem to be pretty organized, like they might have been some of the first ones. This lady, Mary Estrada, was born in 1838, died in 1909. 1818, the birth of Emily Knight Kimball, died in 1891. Check this one out, guys. I don't know what this symbol is, but Martin Compass, 1850 something to 19, I can't quite read it, but it says his memory is blessed. This mound is pretty large. I'm just gonna take some time and walk around and explore the area. It's a pretty large space. I guess in terms of a neighborhood, it would be about the size of 3 properties in a regular neighborhood put together, maybe 4. Size of a small park, I would say, but it's really overgrown. There's obviously a lot of partying that happens here. We're in the south side of St. Pete, and it's a little squirrely down here, you could say. So I could see how it could get overgrown pretty easily, but very cool place. Very cool place. it out. Way back here, you see the kite van over there, but back here is the back wall. Looks like the back part of the cemetery. It used to be. Let's check out the church. I believe that this building would be the parsonage or the community hall. Parsonage for a church is where a pastor usually lives. Looks like a pretty nice little church. And right here next to the church is this small gated area. And inside are some graves that have been not touched for a very, very long time. Some couple Cassie and John, you will be remembered today. There's a couple folks that have lost a dog. They've come to the cemetery to search for that dog. I think these graves in the small gated area are from the church members. They're more recent. 1970s. Here's when Lily passed away. Old Jack, he passed away in 1972. You got these just stacked over here. See a little bit of possible engraving on the side. And unfortunately, I have a feeling that a lot of those stones that we saw in the walkway earlier are old gravestones. Like this one looks like possibly, yeah. This is Milmiris. There we go. You will be remembered, Mrs. Milmiris, today. It's always fascinating to me to think about what happened in these people's lives while they were here. Knowing that this is where a lot of the pioneers for this area are buried, people that had serious adventure. Some of you think that this is adventure, what you're watching right now on YouTube and traveling around and seeing different spots in the Florida area and around the country and the world. It is adventure, it is. But these people who are buried in this cemetery, they had a different type of adventure, one that was dangerous. And a lot of these people buried here were not old when they died. Then we go back to the Indians that are buried here, and what were their lives like? I mean, they were surviving in a completely different way than the pioneers were. It's just fascinating to think, and it's enjoyable to come back and try to give a little bit of memory back to these resting souls laying here in this beautiful part of St. Petersburg. I hope one day I'm remembered for things that I did, just like all of you want to be remembered for something too. It is the last night of Shuffleboard League, and there won't be much shuffleboard going on except for some practices here and there with the team until the next season, which starts in about a month and a half. Thanks for watching today, everybody. What a great day. Finishing up our last day of shuffleboard, our last season game before the playoffs, which we did not make. My team did not make the playoffs, but that's okay. It's a great fun time anyway. Make lots of friends out of that. It is not just for the young at heart. It is for the rest of us too. I was going to say the old at heart, but that doesn't sound right. nor do I think it exists. Does that exist? Is there such thing? I've never heard that. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate you taking time to watch these videos and follow along with these daily adventures. Soon and very soon, I'm going to join up with some friends and take some adventures to different parts of Central Florida, which I think you're going to look forward to. You should look forward to. And until then, happy flying.